Hi everyone, this is Arian Reed. My pronouns are he, him, his. In this video, I'm going to go over a lot of tips that I found online and also that I discovered personally through experimentation myself. So I'm trying to compile as many tips together as possible into one video. So we're going to go through this really quickly. I'm going to start with from the bottom up because I've got a lot of tips about the upper body. The bottom stuff will be much quicker, so we're going to start down there. First thing I want to go over is your shoes. So you're gonna want a shoe that has a very thick sole. So this shoe has about like a 1-inch sole. So this helps me with my height dysphoria. Okay, so but the problem is that a lot of these shoes, the men's sizes are much bigger than they are for women's sizes. And I have very tiny feet. My women's size in America is like 6.5 or something ridiculously tiny like that, which is like a men's like 5.5, and the smallest men's go is size 6. So if you're like me and like the tiniest men's shoe that you can find anywhere is still a little bit big for you, then the other thing I want to mention is your socks. Make sure you're wearing like really thick socks, even though in summer they get a little bit hot. But the thing is the thick socks helps to make there be a little bit more room in the shoe. Otherwise, I kind of feel like I'm sliding around inside my shoe. So I like to wear these really thick socks. So I wear the ones by Under Armour. They take up more room in your shoe and leave you sliding around a little bit less. The other thing I want to go over would also be your flip-flops. So look for something with a kind of a masculine look to it. This is what I got for myself. These ones are, also very masculine looking, with the camouflage and stuff and the colors. And I got a smaller size because I wanted my feet to look less like they are tiny girly feet. So I went a little bit down to I think this is actually like the smallest size they had. So that way my feet can take up a little bit more space in here and leave me looking less like an androgynous teenager wearing his dad's clothes. So this is a fairly straight cut type of jeans. What I really like about these jeans is they're just a little bit loose in the buttocks area. They're a little bit tight on the hips, but they straighten out. They stay pretty straight all the way down. So what happens is overall, I have kind of a straight down look. It's not so much like a hip look. It's more just like my legs just go straight down. So that's what I like about these ones. All right, listen up, kids. The thing about getting older is the first thing to go is your memory. And I can't remember the rest. But I'm pretty sure that I bought one of these pairs of pants. My other favorite jeans would be these looser jeans. So I like these ones because they're so loose that you can't really tell much of anything about me. They're loose all around the butts, they're loose all around the hips, and they're loose all the way down the legs. You do have to wear a belt to hold them up, but otherwise they're very loose, so it's really hard to tell anything about you. And no one is paying me to make this video, to show off any of these clothes, or say any of these things. I'm just really bored. If you're gonna wear skinny jeans, wear something that's not too skinny, okay? So wear something that's got a little bit of wrinklage to it, so that as you're standing, no matter how you are, as you move around, people can't really see the exact shape of your legs and therefore be able to tell that you've got big hips or big thighs. So for instance, these are really skinny jeans. These skinny jeans are really tight, and what you'll notice is that you can tell that I've got kind of, a big girly butt, and then you can also see a little bit, you can see my hips a little bit too. So that's another thing to be careful of. It also matters how you stand. So for instance, any pants can look better on you if you simply turn your hips and sort of tilt your legs a little bit so that your hips are a little behind. So, don't stand so much like this with your knees inward because that will bring your hips outward. You'll kind of tilt your hips out and you'll have a little bit more out here. I try to kind of stand with your knees a little more straight and with your hips, you're tilted so that your hips are a little bit back. Okay, so you're not quite standing like this, you're standing more like this. This helps to give you a bit more of like that male shape. And I also have a tendency to stand with my legs spread a little bit, with the meat of like my hips and my butt and everything kind of tilted back and behind me, so that there's more just like the boniness is visible. And I just kind of have my knees kind of pointed straight or maybe even a little bit outward. As I kind of tilt things back. And when I say tilt things back, I mean, I'm still like straight, like they're here. I'm still straight. I'm just saying that I'm just kind of tilting my legs, you know, kind of the bones of my legs, so that things are angled, so things through here, this kind of fat stuff is all angled a little bit more behind me. Now we're going to talk about belts. Okay, so if you're wearing really tight pants like these, do not wear a belt with these really tight pants, okay? Because the belt is going to emphasize your hips. So you see how I now seem to have a little bit more on my hips? Like my hips are a little bit more noticeable. So this is going to be a bad combination, is tight jeans and big belt, okay? If anything, you want the opposite. So what you do want is going to be the loosest, like ideally, loose jeans and a belt that is very, very skinny, okay? Like one of these skinnier belts, wear it about as tightly as you can on your hips, like your belt isn't sticking out and emphasizing your hips at all. And try to wear it as low down on your hips as possible too, so that then it's just kind of, your jeans just hang down at like a straight shot. So you're gonna want just like a basic, you know, very thin type of belt. If you're going to be wearing shorts, try to wear ones that are so loose that you really cannot tell much about the shape of your hips or of your thighs, and ones that tend to hang down at a straight downward angle. You know, you don't want ones that have like big pockets or anything that might emphasize the shape of your hips or anything like that. You want something that just goes straight down as much as possible. I typically avoid belts. If I am going to wear a belt, though, then you will want to emphasize the fact that you are wearing a belt, because the thing is belts tend to make your hips look a little bit bigger just because there's more fabric now hanging out around your hips. So if you do wear a belt, what you'll want to do is let some of it show. So that way people, if they think that you've got kind of big hips, they might see your belt buckle, for instance, showing and go, oh, he's wearing a belt, it's probably just a belt. You know, it helps them, you know, kind of trick them into thinking it's not so much that you just have big hips. What I prefer the most are shorts that do not have pockets. So like these ones, for instance, these ones do not have any pockets at all. They're very slim, they just go straight down. These ones are going to be the best. And what I like to do is just bring my shirt down over them just a little bit, just to the middle of like this hip bone here. I like to bring them right there, and then cover up like that first half of like your hip bone, and then like right here where like your thighs come out, that is where you want to have your shirt stop. So I usually just bring them down to right about there and then just leave them there. As for swim trunks, you're going to again want to get something that doesn't have any pockets. So see how these don't have any pockets along the hips? That way my hips look a little slimmer. Pockets have tendency to billow out and just really emphasize the shape of hips. So what I like to do is instead I have, if I'm gonna have something with pockets, let the pockets be down here, okay? Get ones where the pockets are down below, not up above on your hips. Okay, the last thing you need is any more fabric or anything billowing out around your hips. So say you're changing in a gym and you want to pass while you're changing. First off, I don't really have a packer. I haven't really coughed up the money for that, but what I do have is a sock. It's not any sock that goes very high up your ankle. It's going to be one that only goes up a little bit, ways up your ankle. It's that same sock I recommended earlier. I just bought enough for the week, and so that's my sock. But anyway, so I just fold it over till he is like this, because I don't need a huge package because I'm not a really big person, so it'd be pretty weird if I had a big package. So I take this, I like to put the big thick angle down, so I'm just gonna pack real quick. Alright, so here's my package. So if I'm changing at the gym, or anytime you're wearing a packer really, you should be wearing underwear that is nice and tight around here, because it's gonna help hold your package in place, okay? You don't want this thing sliding around, falling out, etc. The rare occasion that I have to pack, I would not use a safety pin. I prefer to just be able to stuff something in here, and the moment it's uncomfortable, I'll take it back out. And so, see, I have kind of a modest package, nothing that calls attention to itself, because, I mean, if you've got like something huge, people are gonna be eyeing that. Not in the briefs, that's cool too. You can wear boxer briefs. They're basically, or I think these are called trunks. And these are basically ones that like only go a little bit waist on the legs. You know, they're not quite that like bikini style. They're a bit more like shorts. And these ones are kind of cool because like this brand, Muchacho Malo, they have, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a really thick seam right through here that helps to make sure that nothing wanders down my legs. So I can just throw my packer into there. I think I put him wrong side up. There we go. So this is, again, my bulge with this type of packer and with these shorts. And so this seam, it runs around either side of that package and really helps hold it in place. It gives me a little bit of a modest bulge that doesn't really call attention to itself. I would not, however, recommend these longer briefs because these ones, see how they go like several inches down the leg? And they have a tendency to be pretty loose in the seam through here. Especially this brand, this is Champion. These are really comfortable. I do like to wear these when I'm going commando style. I don't need to be packing. Then I would wear these, especially in the gym, because they do cover your legs a fair amount underneath your shorts. But anyway, I would not wear it for packing just because I'm so scared that this packer, because this is also loose, I feel like my packer is going to slide out to the side, slide out to the other side, go down my leg. You know, it's really easy to lose your packer through this. If you're gonna wear these type of this type of underwear, then you're gonna have to safety pin this to yourself. And what you would do is you would put it in here, and then you would put a safety pin right through here. Make sure that the safety pin, that the pointy side is gonna be on the outside and not on the inside, because you don't want that coming undone and then stabbing you in the stomach. Now, say you're changing at the gym and you're someone who goes commando style and you want something that makes you look as though you have a package that you're not really packing. These are Marco Marco trunks, and they basically, I'm not packing right now. This is just the way the fabric is. It's kind of stiff, it sticks out. It acts as though there's something there even when there's not. That's why I like wearing these when I'm at the gym, because I don't typically pack. So when I'm changing and I take off my clothes, then guys who glance at me think they see a bulge, but really they're just seeing just a stiff crotch. So this is Marco Marco, and I think Code 22 probably tends to do the same style as well. What you don't want is something like this. So these are comfortable, but unfortunately this is not stiff. This is stretchy. It's meant for you to be stretching this with your stuff. And so when you don't have anything, it really emphasizes the fact that you don't have anything. So it just kind of hangs down and looks awful. So I would not recommend getting like this brand, for instance. This is Jack Adams. I love their brand. I love wearing their clothes in general. Just if you're thinking that someone's going to have to see you without you packing, this is not what I would wear for that occasion. I also would not recommend wearing these longer briefs because they have a tendency to just be very flat through here and are also on the stretchy side. So they're meant to just look flat until something is put in there. So if you're not putting anything there and you're like me and you change at the gym every day, don't want to have to work out with something between your legs, then I would not recommend changing in front of other people if you're wearing this style. Alright, so this is my favorite binder. This one's by GC2B. This is their top half tank binder, whatever it's called. The one that only goes halfway down. This one's my favorite because I wear a lot of black and just dark colors in general. Dark colors are generally more easier for us trans men to pass in. So like many trans men, I tend to wear a lot of darker colors. But anyway, so this is what the half binder looks like. In general, when you're wearing a binder, try to just pull it straight down over your chest. Try not to like tuck your breasts off to the side or any weird locations. Just try to just tuck them straight up. Just drag them up as you pull down your binder. And in general, when you're getting into your binder, it's a good idea to try to reach up behind and help pull it down your shoulders, and to also pull it down evenly, okay? Don't try to pull it down, down one shoulder and then try to yank it all the way down the other shoulder. Try to pull them down as much as you can, like wriggle them down in a very even way, as much as you can. Because if you just do one side, you might get stuck. Alright, so this one is by the New York Toy Collective, also known as NYTC. This is the half binder as well. This one's also pretty comfortable too. This one, it might be a little bit more comfortable, but the thing is it has a little bit less of a flattening effect for me personally. And I also don't care for the looseness of the underneath part of it. Maybe I just have a small rib cage, but I find that this is pretty loose and that the loose stuff underneath tends to show through my shirt. This line has a tendency to kind of stick out and to show through my shirts. So for that reason, I don't really care for this one too much, even though it does cover less. And in general, like, the seams are just a touch softer, and, you know, for certain reasons, it can be a little bit more comfortable. You know, it covers the back a little bit less, but, it's still, and it does come a little bit lower and stuff. But just because it doesn't flatten me as much, this is the tiniest size that they had available. And it just doesn't flatten me very much, and it has this kind of weirdness at the bottom. So for that reason, it's not quite my favorite, but I still like to wear it. I still wear it every day after the gym. This is what I put on when I'm done for the day. I'll throw this on and then throw like a loose t-shirt on and go home. All right, this one is the full binder, so it comes all the way down. I believe this is going to be better for people who have a bit more going on in the middle. It will help keep everything kind of in a straight male shape, and kind of even out where things, the placement of body fat and such. But what I don't like about this is that any style binder, not just by this brand, but any of the folding binders, it's just that you move throughout the day, so they're always moving up, and eventually they tend to work their way up, and you have to keep tugging them back down and straightening them out. They get really wrinkly, and those wrinkles can be seen through your shirt sometimes, especially if you're wearing a lighter color shirt or a clingy shirt or a thin material type shirt. A lot of different kinds of shirts. These wrinkles can generally be seen through them, sometimes even the seam. So for that reason alone, I don't super recommend the one that goes all the way down, but that could just be like me personally or my body type. All right, so this one's another good one. This is another GC2B binder. This one is the half tank that has a racer back style. So what I like most about this one is that you have a bit more clothing options because it does come down a little bit lower in the front. It comes down about the same in the armpit, it seems like. But then in the back, you've got like all this. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with quite as many of the tank tops as I was hoping it would. But it is a big improvement from the other one. The only thing I don't like about it is just that, at least the one that I got anyway, the seams are a little bit rough feeling through here. And especially like in the back, it kind of feels a little bit rough to me. And the thing is the way that this line back here, this seam, comes right across the wing of my shoulder blade, like right across the bottom of it. So it's a little bit uncomfortable for me when I move around, just a little bit. And it tends to leave some, you know, red marks in the back a little bit, but I might also just be wearing one that's a little bit tighter than what I'm supposed to, especially since I've been on T for a few months now, so I'm starting to get a little bit bulkier up top. And I refuse to size up because I don't want to be any less flat than this. This is a good flatness look for me day to day. I would avoid pretty much any of the binders on Amazon, especially the ones that have the bra type hooking along the sides. I literally threw them away because they were so bad. Like you could see the hooks tend to come down the side, and that big fat seam tends to stick out and be visible through most t-shirts. I just couldn't get it to really work with anything. They had a tendency to have like a weird neckline. I mean, not that any binder really has a great neckline, but they tend to have like really weird, really sharp necklines, really weird, sharp armpit shapes, and then the back tended to be really weird, and it was always off center, and so like it felt really weird against your shoulder blades. Like it was just I couldn't find a good one on Amazon. I must have tried like 5 or 6 different brands, and they were all terrible. I tried the strapless one that just comes straight across and it has like clear straps. I tried them all, just avoid them all in general. So try to avoid anything that is sleeveless, because as you can see, even the best binder in the world, this GC2B binder, which leaves a lot of the arms uncovered and such, even this one, you can still see, you know, it still tends to show. Maybe if I bought it in black, I'm not sure if it's available in black, but maybe if I had bought it in black and bought like a black version of this shirt, then it would have worked out. But unfortunately, this is my most covering sleeveless shirt. I got this one on Amazon. It's my most covering shirt, and still, no matter how I wear it, it tends to, as I move around, it tends to always, my binder shows through no matter what. So if you're really uncomfortable about your binder showing, then just avoid these types of shirts in general. All right, t-shirts. So t-shirts, number one t-shirts to avoid would be white, mainly because white, you can see through it. So for instance, this is my GC2B binder that is showing through right here. And this is the flesh colored one. If you are going to wear white, wear flesh colored GC2B binders, okay? So just get the one that's closest to your skin type. If you try to wear a white binder underneath it, especially if you're a person of color, you're going to be able to see the outline of that white binder against your dark skin underneath your shirt. So try to find one that is as close to your skin tone as possible and wear that underneath your white shirt. So this is what your white shirt is going to look like. Other shirts to avoid would be any shirts that are thin, any shirts that are see-through, and also, I like solid color shirts, but I would bet that like a patterned, shirt, like a heather gray, heather whatever, shirt is going to be, it's going to help you pass a little bit more because it's going to make it harder for you to determine, lines and, see through it as much as like the solid colors. And also light colors. Generally try to avoid the light colors. Try to avoid also feminine colors. So here in the United States, things like pink, for instance, are feminine. Things like purple, for instance, are considered fairly feminine. So I have a harder time passing in like things like pink and purple. If you're muscular, try to avoid shirts that are loose on the arms, because that will actually destroy your passing that your muscle would have otherwise allowed you to do. So try to avoid these looser kind of unisex, unflatteringly cut shirts. If you are not muscular, you're going to need to wear shirts that are very loose, shirts that at a glance seem like they would be loose on anyone. So that way it's not calling attention to the fact that it's loose on you. So if you are muscular, wear a shirt that is tight around your arms, something that clings to you. This is a shirt by ASOS, ASOS. This is a very cheap shirt, especially since I bought like a 6-pack or 8-pack or something like that. So you can get a lot of them for really cheap, really fill up your wardrobe. And what I like about them is not only are they tight around the shoulders and around the arms, is they are also loose around the body as well. And they also have a lot of dark colors too. So this is a really great passing shirt for me because it's just thick enough that you don't quite see the lines of my binder really much. It's nice and loose and tight right where I need it. It's a really great passing shirt. Comes in a lot of different colors. I bought the pack that came with also, there's a gray one, there's also a navy one, and also a dark green one. And these are all great colors for passing because they're all pretty masculine colors, or at least gender neutral colors. And if you do buy those shirts by ASOS, make sure you wash them, get them nice and wet, and then put them through the dryer through like a high heat level for a while until they're completely dry. That way you'll really shrink them down because they come to you not pre-shrunk. They're in need of shrinking. So patterned shirts are great because they're a little bit less see-through. It's a little bit harder to see the binder underneath all the pattern, a little less see-through. And then also shirts that have hoods, they tend to come over your lats. So if you don't have much lats, they tend to make you appear as though you do have lats. And if you do, then they kind of emphasize them a little bit. So that's why I like to wear hoodie shirts. They are very passing shirts for me. Also, a good type of shirt are baseball shirts. They are the ones that have these colors down here. They tend to emphasize your lats, your shoulders a little bit. And what I like about this one is that it also has a hood as well. So it does all that, it has a hood, and it's also dark colors. Whereas a lot of them, they tend to be dark up here, but then they're really light through here, like white or some sort of really light color that causes people to be able to see your binder and stuff through them, because your binder does come, my binder is coming through here, it's coming down at the lowest, it's coming down through here. So you can still kind of see a little bit of binder shape underneath them if you're wearing a lighter colored shirt. Another great thing about these kind of shirts is they're also a little bit thicker on the fabric. And the thicker that your fabric is, the less easy it is to see your binders through them. My only thing I don't like about the shirt is it is a touch clingy to the binder. What you want to avoid are also really tight compression shirts and also ones that are of a light color. because you can see through this one. You can see my binder a little bit. You can see like the edges of my binder. You can even see like the color of my binder. You can see too much. And also, you can kind of see my hourglass a little bit. It kind of shows off my hip, it shows off my hourglass. These type of shirts are just generally to be avoided. So when you are working out at the gym, what you want to wear is a shirt that's going to be cut off, especially if you are already athletic. Then showing off your shoulders and your arms is going to be a very passing feature for you. So what you want to wear is something that's cut off, but something that isn't cut off too far inward that shows off your binder. So you're going to want to wear something that cuts off like right at the shoulders and doesn't have one of those super big armpit holes. Okay, so this is like one of those cheap ones I got on Amazon, and the only thing I don't like about it is just that it's so thin that you can see my binder through it a little bit. That's the only thing I don't like about it, but otherwise it's a very passing shirt for me. And it's very loose, so you cannot see the shape of my hourglass, and it tends to stop right around the hips. For working out in, this one is also a great one. Not only does it cut off at the shoulders, but it also has a little bit of texture to it. It's got that like heather gray type stuff going on, and it's got a hoodie. So it also will help emphasize whatever traps you do have, or give you traps if you just don't have any. And the armpit holes are not super big, super noticeable. So it's one of my favorite ones, and it's nice and loose, and again, it stops right about the hips, so that way it's not coming down and causing a curve shape. But what I typically do when I work out is I tend to just wear that same shirt. I told you about that shirt from ASOS that's tight on the shoulders. I tend to just wear that when I work out, because all those workout shirts, they tend to be a little bit thinner. This one's a little bit thicker, it's not so clingy. For instance, if you forgot to put like enough dryer sheets through the dryer, then those muscle shirts tend to cling to your binder really badly. Whereas this one, I've never really had a problem with these cotton t-shirts doing that to me. So I tend to just work out in these shirts, and then throw on one of those workout shirts when I'm done, just as something to wear on my way home. Now, when you go swimming, what you're gonna wanna wear is one of these compression shirts that has a built-in binder underneath it. Or else what you can do is you can also just wear a binder and then wear a loose compression shirt over it. It's nice and loose through here, just like you need it. It's got that binder. It's got a pretty good binder in it, but make sure that when you are putting on this binder, because it is a zip up kind, make sure you really push all the air out of your chest as much as possible. Really try to really contract and really try to pull in your ribs, and then try to really squeeze into that binder. Otherwise, you're never going to get that zipper up. As for winter t-shirts, if you need to be wearing long sleeve shirts, ASOS has some really great loose long sleeve shirts that are basically just the same as those t-shirts I'll show you. They're just loose long sleeve sweater type shirts. If you want something a little tighter, especially if you are muscular and want to be able to emphasize your muscular arms and shoulders, then ASOS also has like tight ones as well that I like. This is their tighter shirt. What I like about it is that it's still a little bit loose around the middle. I wish it was looser, but it's not quite as loose as I'd like. And then on the arms, just to warn you, if you are muscular, the arms are pretty tight. In fact, it might even be tight for someone who's not muscular. So if you're going to order the tight version of their long sleeve shirts, make sure you order a size up than what you ordered for the t-shirts. So for me, those t-shirts were an extra small. I really should have ordered a small for this, but I ordered an extra small. The nice thing is that they have 45-day return periods for free returns, but I just didn't really get around to it and just decided to keep these. Another thing you can do is also wear flannel over a t-shirt. Why I say that is because if I button this up, then it shows off a little bit more my slenderness, my curvature, etc. So I tend to just leave them open. That way, it looks a little bit more like a casual guy style. What I like about them is also that if you've got enough that if you've got a lot that you're binding and stuff going on up here, then this just like covers a lot of that. And the other thing I really like about a lot of flannel shirts is that they have buttons, so you can just undo these sleeves and just roll them up when you feel hot, which is like all the time if you decide to go on testosterone or already are on it. I really like the collars because the collars kind of emphasize your lats, whether or not you have them. They just help with passing just because of that as well. If you're going to be wearing a collared shirt, make sure to wear a shirt underneath it. This will help create a layer between your the collared shirt and your binder, because these collared shirts have a tendency to be pretty thin. So they tend to show the shape through. Do not tuck in your shirt. What you end up with is hips that are much more visible, and an upper body that ends up looking a little skinnier. It all kind of depends on your shape, but if you're about my body type, then you're gonna want to avoid tucking in that shirt, and instead just let that shirt just hang. Even though it's like not the correct way to wear these shirts, it's a little bit better. It kind of hides things a little bit. If you're going to wear a tie, try to wear one of a gender neutral color or of a masculine color. Try to avoid wearing ties of a predominantly feminine color, because these types of shirts tend to be fairly gender neutral nowadays. Men and women are both wearing them. So if you wear, and even ties are not so much of a predominantly masculine thing anymore. So if you are going to wear a tie, try not to wear one of a feminine color. Or if you do, just be warned that it will hurt your ability to pass. Try to avoid sweater vests. So this is actually my husband's, that's why it's humongous on me. It emphasizes my feminine shape. So try to avoid these types of vests unless you're going to be wearing a jacket, like a tuxedo jacket on over them. As for winter attire, everyone's favorite is of course the hoodie. Jackets are of course great too, whether they're open to the front or whether they're closed. Either way works. Especially if they have a hood. Always try to get something with a hood. This is by Under Armour. This is one of my favorite shirts. It's very thick, so that's why I really like it, because it's almost like 2 layers or something. It's a very thick shirt, so you can't see binderness at all. And when I'm leaving the gym, sometimes I don't even need to put a binder on, but it has really big holes. So the reason why I'm putting this on during the jacket review is also because I want to show you that a nice thick hoodie cutoff shirt plus your jacket. This is a denim jacket, another fairly well priced jacket from ASOS. This one's the skinny one, so it's nice and tight on my arms, kind of shows off like how muscular my arms and shoulders are a little bit. And it comes right over the chest, so I'll wear like this plus this, and I can literally walk out of the gym without a binder on and have no one freak out and be like, oh my god, where that guy's boobs come from. He did not have boobs 20 minutes ago. So I really like to wear this. I especially like to pull the hood out and let it hang out back here. It really makes my traps like seem much bigger. This is a really passing outfit for me. I get a lot of compliments on the denim jacket. It is a very nice jacket. And the other thing I really like about this jacket is also my friend donated this to me, so now I just throw this on over my skinny jacket, and now I've got 2 layers. This is a really thick jacket. Put this on over. It's, it's pretty well passing, and also it's extremely warm, so it's just awesome. This is the looser version of that same denim jacket. Again, I got from the same place. These jackets are, they have a very masculine look to them, so I get a lot of compliments from other guys who have no idea that I'm trans. They'll compliment me on this jacket. This one's a little bit looser, so it tends to make me look a little bit younger, kind of hurt my passing just a little bit just because of the looseness. It's still something that it can serve as an underlayer. So for instance, I can put this jacket back on and it totally works. I can wear this. So for instance, I can throw this jacket back on, and I now have extra layers. So not only do I have the hood from my hoodie shirt, but now I have the hood from this jacket coming out to cover my lats. So it really, really hides the fact that I don't have as big lats as a lot of the other cis men at the gym. It also helps to fill up these sleeves as well. Gives me a little bit thicker arms and just a thicker body in general. It really helps hide things. So this is another one of my favorite outfits. If you have long hair and your parents aren't letting you cut your hair, if you're someone who lives with your parents, then you'll want to think about investing in a beanie or some sort of baseball cap or something. Try those out. Also, stay away from shirts that are V-necks, scoop necks, etc., because they will show your binder. Also, I just want to mention scarves. They don't hurt your passing, they don't really help with your passing, but make sure you're wearing scarves that are meant for men. They tend to be a little bit whiter and like a little blockier, whereas girls' scarves tend to have like little tassels at the end and be longer and skinnier. So just look for, ones that are advertised towards men if you're going to go with scarves. As far as like leather gloves or any sort of gloves on your hands, you're gonna want to go ahead and go with like the most gender neutral version meant for a female if you have slender, small hands like I do. Just because the men gloves are not going to fit you. They're going to be really loose and baggy and you're just not going to like them. When you're shopping online, you'll want to look for a lot of vendors, sizing guides, sizing assistants, etc. On Amazon, there's also an additional little thing you want to look at called Fit, which is where people who have purchased the item have reported how well it fits them. So this is a great way for you to see if something typically runs large, small, or about what it's supposed to. So when you're on Amazon, you'll also want to look at free returns. See if that is listed right up front. If that is not listed like right beneath the price, chances are you're going to have to pay for your return if it's even returnable. ASOS is really cool. So at ASOS, they have not only is there a Fit Assistant, which is something where you answer a bunch of questions about yourself and it helps you figure out the right size for you. But there's also sizing help as well, and sizing guides, and also some information about the model. So there's a lot of help on ASOS to help you figure out what your best size is going to be. But keep in mind when it comes to things like underwear and pants that you're going to want to order a size up because trans men just have bigger hips and butts. And as I mentioned earlier in my video, they do also have 45-day free returns. Now, the really cool thing about Underwear Expert is that they will send you underwear according to your exact size. So you tell them whether you are 29 inches around the hips or 30 or 38 or whatever, and they will send you underwear that is your exact size. If you are between sizes, for instance, if you are sometimes a small or sometimes a medium, like I tend to be, then they'll send you whatever the small or the medium, whatever size is best according to your exact measurements. They do not, however, allow returns as far as I know, so do be very careful about letting them know exactly what size you are and keeping that up to date if you maintain a membership with them. You will change size a little bit while you're on T, so just make sure that as you drop in sizes that you go on there and you update it accordingly. JC2B has a really handy sizing guide. It's very extensive and very thorough, and then they also do allow for returns. If you open it up and try it on and it doesn't seem to fit well, then go ahead and send it back to them. Just make sure you keep it in good condition prior to sending it. So just to go over, a lot of the stores I mentioned earlier were JC2B, New York Toy Collective, Underwear Expert, ASOS, American Eagle Outfitters, Kohl's, Old Navy, H&M, and Amazon. Please, if you have any additional comments, please leave those below so that other people watching this video can scroll down and see what worked for you as well, see what I missed. Although I said wear this, don't wear that, etc., if you want to wear something, wear it. Like, totally disregard me. Go with what you want to do. And who cares if someone can see your binder underneath your shirt? Like, who cares if you're not always passing all the time? It doesn't, those people don't matter, okay? You matter. Who you want to be, your self-expression, that matters more than anything that's going on around you, more than anyone else's opinion of you or what a bunch of random strangers happen to think about you, okay? So just be safe, be strong, and be you. All right, thank you. Bye, everyone. You to hold me like you used to. When the sun was young and we were bright, I want to hold you like I